Well, hello. Today we're going to talk about caulking, and gosh, a lot to say, so I'm going to kind of keep it short and simple. Um, but it just so happens I have a shower that needs some caulking at the moment, so I'm going to be taking this upstairs and fixing my shower. Shower I actually installed last summer, and lo and behold, we find a leak. So we're gonna give it a shot of this, and hopefully be basking in the shower again tomorrow morning without any leaks into the bottom stairs bathroom. So anyway, so hang on, and I'll kind of go through the ins and outs, and we'll take a look at what caulking is all about in general. Gosh, my hair is getting long. This COVID thing, no barbers. Of course, I'm also losing some too. It's taking a toll on me. But who cares? I don't see anybody anyway, other than you. So I hope you don't mind my poor haircut and at times the lack of it. Just do the comb over. Anyway, here we go. Well, here is your caulking in its basic form. It comes in these tubes. This is your common size. Generally, you'll cut the end off. You'll puncture the seal. You'll run it through you'll use one of these applicators, these guns, caulking guns, to apply it. And it comes with different things on the inside. As I mentioned, we're going to use this kitchen, bath, and plumbing because I have a shower it's a two-part shower that's got a seam that apparently didn't get sealed up well enough and is leaking. It does come with different colors. You can see this is a tan. If you're not going to paint it, but a lot of times I'll buy this because it's acrylic latex and it's paintable. And if you buy it in white, you can paint it any color you like. And paint a lot of times is basically acrylic latex, so it really blends well. Easy cleanup. And some of them have a little bit of silicone in them as well. This one over here is actually a glue, so you can see liquid nails. This is used between a subfloor and floor joists, and this will get your floor, a little so it doesn't creak. So when you walk across it, it's a little more silent, and it's definitely more sturdy. It also comes in a smaller tube, and I don't use this too much, particularly because I don't feel like I can run as good of a bead with this as opposed to one of these caulking guns. I've also seen it where you can get some tar for roofing in there. There's other varieties of glue. There's a lot of different brands, and most of them will do the same thing. Some are just pure silicone, and it's really good stuff. A little tricky as far as the application, kind of messy, and I don't know that I've ever mastered it, but I kind of work around that, and in the end, I'm generally happy with the end product. So we'll take a look. All right, well, here's your basic caulking gun. Probably about a $5 deal at the hardware store for your basic. They do make more complicated, more advanced ones. They make different size ones as well. I've heard they even make a battery-operated one. I don't own one of those. But what we're going to see is there's this plunger here, and there's this release, a couple basic parts, and then the trigger. And as I advance the trigger, as long as this is in the right position, you're going to see this going forward. Well, maybe once I have the glue in there. And that's basically it. So we're going to load it, I'm going to push this guy, pull that back. We're going to drop this into the slot, and then we're going to push that into position. Next thing you'll need to use a utility knife, so a little straight blade, and I'm going to cut the tip off. Depending on how wide I want the bead will determine how much of this I cut off. I generally plug things up with a nail, so I'm going to cut it off at about that size. I'm also generally a little messy, so the bigger I go, the bigger a mess I make, so I'm going to make a little smaller cut today, and sometimes on a slight angle. So we've got that cut off. We're going to take our nail, and it usually has to be a 16-penny nail to be long enough. I'm going to go in the end there, and we're just puncturing the seal. I do hang on to that nail because after I'm done, You may notice that I'll plug these things up with that nail, and it'll last a good year or so. Eventually, it'll just dry up, air in there, but you can get them to last up to a year. And so I think we're ready to go. So let me pull that nail out. I'm going to squeeze the trigger. It's probably going to fill this little chamber, and out it comes. There we go. So if I don't release the little plunger here, it's going to continue to seep out. So to try not to make too big of a mess or waste too much, we're going to need to push that in, pull that back, and then it shouldn't come out anymore. So I'll have to wipe that off before I get started. Have a lot of paper towels or wet rags ready. But that's how you load it up and get it ready to go. So pretty simple. Okay, here's where we're going to do our job today. And this is the shower I had mentioned. You can see some caulking where the shower meets the floor. So there's an example of where it could be used. It's also used quite often around baseboards, underneath and on top. So that baseboard is basically sitting on top of the floor there. And that makes sure that moisture and water doesn't get back behind into the wall. If you ever have a leak in your floor, it won't get to your wall. But as far as today we're looking at that seam there. That seam, that's a two-piece shower. So basically this is a remodel style shower where it comes in two parts, because showers are so big they won't fit through doorway unless they're in two parts. So generally the shower is put in first, and then it's all finished in around the shower. And so as we replaced the shower, we had to buy a shower that came in two parts. So that's what you're looking at. And that seam is the one that's failing. And so when it was installed, we did caulk that, but apparently not well enough. And the shower hits this back wall right here and is leaking back behind and falling out onto the floor and then leaking into the bathroom downstairs, which isn't good. So we're going to put a bead of caulk in that seam there. Okay, here's our seam. This is where we're going to be applying our caulking. And you can see where last summer I didn't do such a good job. I'll probably clean some of that off there before I get started, so I can have a nice clean bead by the end of today. And we're going to actually work this thing all the way around. There's 3 sides, and we're going to work it all the way around. Hopefully it's clean and not very noticeable. Hopefully. All the way to there. So that's the plan. Hope I got enough. I got 1 tube, so we'll see how long it lasts us. Okay, here we go. So I am going to try and keep a consistent flow coming out of the tip here. And I'm going to do that by the trigger and then speed. So those are the main factors. And keep in mind, I'm probably going to have to clean some up with a paper towel at the end and my finger. So here's where we go. Pull my nail out. Make sure it's tight. And I'm going to start over here in the corner, so it kind of gives us a nice seam there as far as where we transition. So again, I want to see the bead coming out behind me. I got a little angle to the caulking gun. I don't really want to see it ahead of me, just behind me. And it would sure be nice if it was consistent in height. And again, I don't think I'm any kind of master at this, but in fact, this is coming out horrible. There we go. That's what we want. So consistent, speed, and pressure. Oh, there was a bubble in the tube. And then I'm going to wrap this around the corner. And then I want to push in on that and pull out to relieve that pressure. clean up the inconsistencies. Okay, well there's wall one. You can see I have some inconsistencies. So I'm going to take off the high spots first, and I generally will use my finger and a paper towel. They do make this little guy, this little tool. I'm going to try this at the end. I don't know that I've ever mastered this, but this is for basically kind of spreading the caulk at the end to make a nice look. So I'll try that at the end. But anyway, I'm going to take off these high spots. This is where things get messy. Then I'm going to try to make one consistent bead look uniform. So again, I'm going to start over here, kind of troweling it with my finger. Again, a lot of excess. I do want to kind of push it in the seam because I want it to bottom out. And that looks pretty good. Extra up here, and then I'll do that for all three walls. Hopefully it works. All right, well there you have it, our best attempt at a nice caulking bead all the way around that shower seam. I wish I'd have done this to start with. That looks pretty good. We'll check it out. We'll wait about 24 hours, let it dry, and then we will check it out. And hopefully we'll be showering with no leaks. I do want to add that it's a little stinky. You may want to have a window open. Well, if all goes well, this concludes our lesson on caulking. If it doesn't go well, I'll be digging deeper tomorrow and buying more caulking. But I think we handled the situation. So hope you got something good out of this. And again, this concludes caulking in many shapes and forms.